So I had such a great time on the first program, and I knew that it worked, that you got results. And I'd gone a long way from being, if you go by the BMI, obese to just overweight. And I'd been to see my doctor, and the question I had for my doctor, because lots of people talk about the BMI like it's, not the most reliable, bit out of date, that sort of thing. And so I'd gone to my doctor and I'd said, look, really, for my age and stage, what is my ideal weight? And she told me, and I thought, all right, well, I've got, not as much weight to lose, but a bit to lose. And I found I'd embedded lessons from the program, but I reckon I was still, a bit inclined to bad habits and things. And I thought, I wonder what would happen if I did it a second time. And then I had this friend that I'd made in the first program, and she's on a much longer journey than me. She's got a lot more weight to lose, a longer way to go. And I've become really invested in her. And I thought, well, it'd be a good idea to suggest it to her too, and we could do it together. Anyway, the two things sort of added up to, yeah, why not? Like the program is honestly, Rob, such good value. Um, it's a no-brainer. So it was different for me because I had different goals, um, a different goal, but I also thought it was the same principles applied, right? So the program's called Level Up. So I sort of think of that as you're challenging yourself to go a step further. And weirdly, the first time has given me an appetite for doing that with myself in all sorts of small ways, but then in some bigger ways too. And so, the program a second time was like another opportunity to kind of lift the game on myself. I also recognize, I mean, it's clear to me doing it the second time that the program evolves and is sort of a program of continuous improvement in how it's constructed and what it does for people. I see how it takes a lot of feedback from people and incorporates that. And I mean, first time was great, don't get me wrong, but sort of appreciate that too. So I wouldn't say things had slipped. I mean, maybe I had bounced a kilo or two. I just think that I had unfinished business in my own mindset and attitude. So I'd say I came out of the first program totally sold on regular exercise. I sort of achieved a goal of wanting to be an active person. But I think I felt that I could do more. And I also felt that I was a long way yet from um, exercising more self-discipline in ways that I would like to do. Yeah. So I went to put sugar in my coffee this morning and I tasted it and I didn't like it and I couldn't believe it. Because it's funny the little things that you hang on to. It's like, oh yeah, I'm off the program. I can have the sugar in my coffee. But you know what? I don't even need a lot. Like I only need like a quarter teaspoon now. And then I have it and I'm like, you know what? I don't actually like it anymore. Um, I don't know if that answers the question adequately, but I think, there were some distinct mindset shifts this second time round. I think more could come. You know, I don't, I don't, I, in some ways, the program and what you achieve just reflects how we are in life. You don't become a perfect person in one moment, or um, change how you want to change in one moment. You evolve and develop, and a lot of it's to do with education. And I have to say that a penny dropped for me this time around alcohol and my appreciation of what alcohol does um, for want of a better word, digestion. So I had sort of conned myself into the idea that if you have a whiskey, that's no carbs, so no problem, right? But in fact, when I did the research, I understood more that your body burns the alcohol first. That means it delays burning other things and so on and so forth. And so it's that, I sort of, I guess, went deeper in understanding that sort of thing. And I guess too, it's another great thing about the program is that, I've started to understand that it's kind of on me to do the learning. So the first time I was gunning for the 10% because I knew that 10% wouldn't even get me where I needed to go, right? So the program sets you a 10% type of your body weight, almost a commitment. You can if you do what we say, you'll get there. And I made that, and that was huge. I mean, that was, I don't know, I can't remember, something like close to 10 kilos or whatever. And the second time, I had a very specific weight that I wanted to crack. And that was because of the advice from a doctor. So I wouldn't say that I am someone who's absolutely obsessed with losing weight. The bigger goal of being a fit, healthy person who looks good for their age is more important to me. So this time it would, I don't know, probably a bit under 5% is where I've hit. And that's fine with me. I think though there's still a little bit of work to do to get more into the middle of the range where I would like to be and to stay there. So I'm very mindful of that and thinking about that a lot. I should probably admit that Elena and I are already discussing doing it a third time. So I've mentioned already that alcohol for me landed differently, as in I finally worked out the reason why I should not be doing this. And I would certainly advocate that in the program with participants being very explicit about that, about how things work with alcohol and so on. And I'm sure this is, has been covered and everything else, but it's like people need to hear the same message 50 times, right? Um, that landed differently for me. I appreciated how the program could adapt to its participants. So the fact that Elena and I could start from a higher level of exercise and still be challenged to increase it even more was great. So that, I mean, I think our final weekend, no, the final week we walked 60 Ks. And we're pretty proud of that. Pretty shattered by the end of that weekend, but pretty proud of it. And also pretty proud of being able to do the strength on top of some pretty long distances for us. We're sort of doing 11, 12 kilometers on each of the last few days. And I think what's different about us this time is that when given a choice, well, would you like to do some yoga or whatever, or the exercises, we're unwilling to go for the easy option anymore. Um, we know we just, we can dig in. Um, Elena often says, I can do difficult things, it's like her little mantra. And I think it is a thing that we've gained. It's a no-brainer. It's an it's a no-brainer to do it the first time. It's a no-brainer to do it a second if you've got the appetite for it and the opportunity for it. Um, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters if you're someone who's looking to lose weight or if you're someone who's looking to just once a year or twice a year make your personal health your priority. When I think about this second session or second round, it was a round in which I finally dealt with a health issue that had been bugging me with my Achilles kept playing up. So I made a number of sort of important changes to like shoes that I wear and things like that. And these are all investments in me, right? And so for 6 weeks, again, I was investing in me and prioritizing me doing these things. And maybe that's one sort of light bulb that came in the first and has been reinforced is that I recognize the value of doing that for other people in my family and around me. It's not a selfish thing to do. It's a benefit to everyone. Yes, yes. So for the reasons I just explained, which is that um, from I think I recalled how I've now been training with TBFT for 2 years, I think, 2.5 years. And I started it when I was still working and I was working really hard in a very intense job. And I knew I had to do something. And so I signed up to it. The offer from TBFT was too good to knock back, so I did it. But, I wasn't fully there mentally. Like sort of turned up, but I often didn't if work got in the way and the priorities were all in a jumble and all of that. Over that 2.5 years, aided by the level up, I have been getting really clear on why I'm doing it, what the benefits are, feeling the benefits, and all of that as I've gone along. And I don't think I'm talking about myself, so maybe this is an exaggeration, but I went to play pickleball and I had a friend come who doesn't exercise regularly, but is a very fit woman, sort of mid 60s. And she said to me, "It is obvious how fit you are." And then I've looked at other friends who've joined us and thought, "Oh my God, I'm worried for you. I'm worried that you are, in your mid 60s and you can't do this." But I can do it now. I can go and play a game of walking soccer or play pickleball or whatever. I play 5 games of pickleball in a session on the back of each other. And it is a pretty intense exercise, but it's entirely doable now. And that's the person I wanted to be. I wanted to have a framework to my life. I wanted to have the uh, pheromones or whatever they call it that lift you up. I needed that help in my life. And I wanted to feel like I looked good. I don't need to look perfect, but I need to feel good. So, oh yeah, it's a no-brainer.